5 secrets why Porsche 996 prices will explode. Secret 5. The IMS bearing fear factor is finally dying. Starting around $45,000 for clean 996 Carrera 2 coupes, up 40% year over year, but the market is finally separating fact from fiction on the IMS bearing issue. For over 2 decades, the IMS bearing has been the boogeyman that kept 996 prices artificially low. But here's what's changed. The problem is now completely understood, preventable, and fixable. The 1999 to 2001 cars with the dual-row IMS bearing show only 1 to 2% failure rates. The 2002 to 2005 single-row design, that's where the real problems live, with failure rates up to 10%. This means the early cars everyone avoided are actually the most reliable. When the bearing does fail, it's not random. There are warning signs and preventive replacement costs around $2,000. Compare that to a $20,000 engine rebuild on an air-cooled 911, and suddenly the 996 looks like a bargain. Here's proof the fear is fading. 3 real examples from the last 18 months. A collector in Texas bought a 2001 996 Carrera 2 with fresh IMS service for $32,000 in early 2023. Today, similar cars are asking $48,000 or more. A dealer in California reports that 996s with documented IMS work now sell within days of listing, compared to sitting for months just 2 years ago. And a Porsche specialist in Florida says 60% of his IMS retrofits are now preventive maintenance on cars buyers just purchased rather than emergency repairs. The fear premium that kept these cars cheap is evaporating as knowledge spreads. A 996 with documented IMS replacement is now more desirable than one without. But the generational shift at Secret 4 is even more powerful. Secret 4. Millennials are discovering the 996 sweet spot. The demographic driving 996 appreciation isn't who you'd expect. It's millennials reaching peak earning years who want 911 ownership without air-cooled prices. Here's the reality. A clean air-cooled 911 now costs 6 figures minimum. A 993 Carrera starts around $100,000, and 964s aren't far behind. But a 996 Carrera 2 coupe with the same 911 DNA, better performance, and modern reliability can be had for $45,000. The numbers prove this demographic shift is real. YouTube analytics show 996 review videos are now getting 5 times more views than they did 3 years ago, with the biggest growth in the 28 to 42 age bracket. Porsche forums report exploding 996 section activity, and specialist shops say their average 996 customer age has dropped from 55 to 42 in just 2 years. Millennials who grew up playing Gran Turismo don't have the same emotional baggage about water cooling that Gen X carries. To them, the 996 represents accessible 911 ownership with better performance than the air-cooled cars their older brothers worship. Here's a perfect example. A 34-year-old software engineer in Seattle sold his modified WRX and bought a 2002 996 Carrera 2 for $38,000. 6 months later, he says it's the best car decision he's ever made. All the 911 experience he dreamed about, without the 6-figure price tag. These buyers aren't just collecting, they're driving. They want the 911 experience without the fear of devaluing a 6-figure investment every time they turn the key. The 996 delivers that experience at a fraction of the cost. But the design rehabilitation at Secret 3 is changing everything. Secret 3, the fried egg. Headlights are becoming cool. 25 years later, the controversial fried egg headlights that define the 996 are experiencing a complete image rehabilitation. What was once automotive sacrilege is now becoming iconic design. The 996 design aged well, while newer 911s became increasingly complex and heavy. The clean, simple lines that seemed radical in 1997 now look refreshingly pure compared to modern 911s with their busy aerodynamics and massive intakes. Social media is driving this shift. Instagram hashtag Porsche 996 has grown 300% in the last 2 years, with posts celebrating the unique design rather than apologizing for it. TikTok videos comparing 996 versus 993 styling now consistently favor the 996's cleaner, more modern look. Here's the attitude shift in action. A 29-year-old photographer in Miami specifically hunted for a 996 because he wanted something that didn't look like every other 911 at Cars and Coffee. He found a Guards Red 2001 Carrera 2 and says the headlights are his favorite feature. They make the car instantly recognizable. The design rehabilitation is complete when younger buyers specifically seek out 996s because of the headlights, not despite them. They want the car that looks different, that stands out from the sea of similar air-cooled 9111s. Would you take a 993 for $100,000 or a 996 for half that price? Drop your answer in the comments. I'm curious who wins this debate. But the performance revelation at Secret 2 is the real game changer. Secret 2, the 996 is actually the better driver's car. Here's the secret that air-cooled purists don't want to admit. The 996 is objectively a better driver's car than the 993 it replaced, and the market is finally recognizing this reality. The numbers don't lie. The 996 Carrera produces 300 horsepower compared to the 993's 272. It weighs 2,900 pounds versus the 993's 3,100 pounds. The power-to-weight ratio heavily favors the 996, and that translates to real-world performance advantages. But it's not just about straight-line speed. Let's break down the real differences. Chassis: the 996 is 40% stiffer than the 993, providing better handling precision and crash safety. Brakes: larger rotors and more powerful calipers mean shorter stopping distances and better fade resistance. Engine: water cooling provides consistent temperatures and power delivery that air-cooled engines simply can't match. Track day instructors consistently report that 996s are easier to drive fast, more predictable at the limit, and require less skill to extract maximum performance. The improved weight distribution creates better balance, and the modern ABS provides a safety net that air-cooled cars lack. Here's proof from the track. A driving instructor at Laguna Seca compared his personal 1995 993 Carrera to a student's 2001 996 Carrera 2. Same driver, same day, same conditions. The 996 was 2.3 seconds faster per lap and felt more confidence-inspiring in every corner. The 996 represents the last analog 911 before electronic steering and complex driver aids took over. Cable throttle, hydraulic steering, and relatively simple electronics create a direct connection that newer 911s can't replicate. As more enthusiasts experience both generations, the performance advantage becomes undeniable. The 996 isn't just cheaper than a 993, it's actually better in almost every measurable way. But the supply reality at Secret 1 is the most powerful force of all. Secret 1. Clean 996 are disappearing fast. Here's the secret that will drive 996 prices to $70,000 and beyond. The supply of clean, unmodified, well-maintained examples is shrinking rapidly, and it's not coming back. The brutal reality is that many 996 have been destroyed, modified beyond recognition, or neglected into mechanical oblivion. Of the 175,000 total 996 produced, manual transmission Carrera 2 coupes represent maybe 30,000 cars worldwide. Factor in accidents, modifications, and neglect, and the pool of investment-grade examples shrinks dramatically. Colors like Guards Red, Speed Yellow, and Arctic Silver in clean condition are becoming increasingly rare. A Porsche specialist who tracks 996 inventory reports that clean manual coupes in desirable colors now represent less than 5% of cars he sees for sale. The 25-year import rule is about to hit 1999 model year cars, opening European and Japanese markets to US spec 996. This will create additional demand pressure on an already tight supply of quality examples. Here are 3 real examples of the supply crunch in action. A collector in Phoenix spent 8 months searching for a clean 2001 Carrera, 2 manual in Speed Yellow. When he finally found one with 47,000 miles and complete records, he paid $42,000 without negotiating, because he knew another one might not surface for years. A dealer in North Carolina reports that his last 5 996 manual coupes sold within 48 hours of listing, all to buyers who flew in from other states. He says the days of 996 sitting on lots for months are over. An auction house specialist notes that clean 996 are now bringing strong money at no reserve auctions, with bidding wars common for the best examples. A 2002 Carrera 2 manual with 32,000 miles recently sold for $51,000, double what similar cars brought just 2 years ago. Smart money is moving now because they understand that today's prices represent the last opportunity to buy quality 996 at reasonable money. The 40% year-over-year appreciation we're already seeing is just the beginning. The window is closing fast. Clean 996s at current prices won't exist in 2 years. 996 versus Boxster 986? Which water-cooled Porsche would you choose for appreciation? Tell me in the comments what this means for you. Complete 996 buying guide. If you're serious about 996 ownership, here's your step-by-step action plan. Step 1. Target the right spec. Focus on 1999 to 2001 Carrera 2 coupes with manual transmissions and rear-wheel drive. These represent the purest 996 experience and the strongest appreciation potential. The dual-row IMS bearing in these years is significantly more reliable. Step 2. Budget realistically. Plan on $45,000 to $55,000 for a clean example today. Add $5,000 for immediate needs like IMS service if not done, plus $2,000 per year for maintenance. Don't stretch your budget. Better to wait for the right car. Step 3. Pre-purchase inspection essentials. Demand complete service records, especially IMS bearing status. Pull a DME over rev report during your inspection. Scope the cylinders for bore scoring. Check cooling system components and suspension bushings. Step 4. Negotiation strategy. Use deferred maintenance as leverage, not deal killers. A car needing IMS service gives you negotiating power and ensures the work gets done right. Don't lowball on truly clean examples. They're becoming rare. Top 3 mistakes new 996 buyers make. Mistake 1. Buying the cheapest example available. Cheap 996 are cheap for a reason. Usually deferred maintenance or hidden problems that will cost more than the savings. Mistake 2. Avoiding cars that need IMS service. These often represent the best value because sellers discount them heavily, but the work is straightforward and preventive. Mistake 3. Ignoring service history. A 996 with gaps in maintenance records is a gamble you don't want to take. Complete documentation is worth paying extra for. Colors and options that matter. Guards. Red, speed yellow, and Arctic silver photograph well and attract more buyer attention when it's time to sell. Sport package with larger wheels and lowered suspension is desirable. Condition trumps mileage. A well-maintained 100,000-mile car is worth more than a neglected 50,000-mile example. The bottom line, the 996 market has reached a tipping point. The fear factors that kept prices low are disappearing, the demographic driving demand is expanding, and the supply of quality cars is contracting rapidly. Values are projected to hit $70,000 by 2030 for the right specification, but the move won't be linear. Expect sudden price gaps as the market recognizes what's happening. The smart money is positioning now before the crowd arrives. Which of these 5 secrets hit you hardest? The IMS reality check, the Millennial takeover, or the supply crunch? Let me know in the comments. There you have it. 5 secrets that explain why 996 prices are about to explode. If you're already a 996 owner, drop your experience in the comments and tell us what you paid versus what it's worth now. If you're thinking about buying, what's holding you back? Hit that like button if this video just changed your perspective on the 996, and subscribe for more Porsche truth that dealers don't want you knowing.